Next testifier is Senator Stec, ranker for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioner. How are you?
Hey, sir. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for your work. I'd like to run through my 5 minutes pretty quickly in a few different areas. I'm not going to ask you the question that I ask you all the time because I'm going to be polite about whether or not all the extra work that we throw your way in the legislature is going to get done in addition to all the work that you currently have to do with the budget that doesn't move a lot and with the headcount that doesn't move a lot. I know your answer. I'm not sure I buy your answer, but because I like you, I'm not going to put you on the spot there. But for my colleagues that are listening, you know, hopefully I made a point. In the forest rangers, in the Adirondacks, as you know, my father's a retired ranger, and back when I was a kid and the governor was Mario Cuomo, we had about the same number of rangers, total rangers in the state as we do today, a number around 130. However, since the inception of the Adirondack Park, we've added 350,000 acres to the forest preserve. And as everyone knows, due to social media and how cool the Adirondacks are, we've had a significant increase over the last decade in hikers and associated activity for the rangers. So that goes with that. I heard you answer Senator Hinchy's questions earlier. I appreciate her appreciation of the forest rangers. Is there a plan to increase the rangers in the high peaks? And I'd be curious. I know you're having, I think you're having a lot of retention replacement. A lot of these classes are going towards attrition, but are we going to actually increase rangers in the high peaks?
The answer is yes. This class should increase the overall number significantly. And of course, the high peaks is where you have most of the action, most of the rescues, most of the incidents. And I'm working closely with the division's leadership to make sure that we have the right number of rangers up there. It's obviously complicated in some cases to orchestrate a transition from one home to another. But from an institutional perspective, we need to make sure we have that force staffed up accordingly in the high peaks.
Okay. In addition to that, as you know, there's been a long history with the Rangers. They were considered police officers, then they weren't considered police officers. I know a few years ago there was consideration about merging their title with the ECOs. I don't want to get into that, but the Rangers back in 2006 became police officers again, and their level of responsibility and training has certainly increased over the years, and obviously, as you're aware, their use, in particular in the Adirondacks, has greatly increased. Is there going to be movement on a salary grade increase for our forest rangers? I know that there's concerns about compression and competition with other agencies. I remember when my dad was a ranger, they made a lot less money than state troopers did. But I know there's also a compression issue with backfilling or promoting rangers and rangers not wanting to take jobs because of the compression of the pay scale. So is that going to get addressed soon?
Well, I'd have to defer to the Division of Budget and GOER, which handles much of the collective bargaining. We would weigh in as they need our information. We certainly have an interest in making sure we have a good retention policy here. Some of that is under my control, some of it's not. And I would leave that to the next time that the Rangers are taken up under collective bargaining.
Right. I mean, am I correct to assume that they have a strong case that I probably inadequately laid out?
I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I know that we are an attractive agency. We do have a good package. We have an attractive career for anyone who wants to become a ranger. In some cases, in my view, it's at least as competitive, if not more so, than you take everything into account than what the troopers get. But I understand basic pay and other issues need to be taken into account, and that's something that collective bargaining will take up.
Okay, great. In the EPF, $400 million, $100 million increase. Is some of that funding going to be going towards addressing? I'm sure the answer is yes, but if you could elaborate briefly on trail maintenance, and all the, I mean, somebody mentioned earlier, Chairman Engelbright did about the tree cutting lawsuit decision, which not all of us in the Adirondacks agree with his read on it, but that's okay. But we do have infrastructure needs and maintenance needs that aren't occurring in the Adirondacks, which is contributing to the problem that Chairman Engelbright so eloquently expressed.
No doubt about it. The EPF does contain a $15 million increase to our public access and stewardship line. In addition, we have another.
Oh, I think he's a little more stable.
Another another $90 million in our New York Works, which is great for us in the Adirondacks as well. And then, of course, the Bond Act, when and if that comes to be, we would seek to make sure it was balanced around the state. We're making investments, of course, in the Adirondacks where we have major needs.